On the biggest stage in the world, FanDuel's changing the game because sometimes your player gets subbed off and your bet goes with them. Not anymore. With FanDuel Super Sub, if your player's subbed out, your bet stays in. That's right. If your player leaves the match, your bet continues on with the substitute. So you're still in it until the final whistle. Visit FanDuel.com. Get started now. Let there be goals this summer on FanDuel.
21 plus select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino. 18 plus DCKYWY. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. 888-789-7777. Visit ccpg.org/chat. Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Maryland. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org. Call 800-327-5050. Massachusetts. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Text HOPE-NY in New York. Call 877-770-7867. Louisiana.
Visit FanDuel.com. Get started now. Let there be goals this summer on FanDuel.
In the squadron, they called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Hey, the Carmelo Anthony murder trial, the final arguments, closing arguments have ended, and the jury is already deliberating. This thing went fast. What can they find? The jury can find guilty or innocent on murder, manslaughter, find guilty or acquittal. So what do we think here? Very bizarre defense strategy. So they decided not to put Carmelo Anthony on the stand. Now, the weird thing about that is, you know about this story, right? Frisco, Texas, Austin Metcalf, his twin brother, they're at the football game. And there's some sort of argument, and Carmelo Anthony stabs Austin Metcalf, 17 years old, I think, in the chest with a knife, and ran away. Cops grab him. Immediately he says, I did it. Not allegedly, I did it. Kind of. Now, the weird thing, and many weird things here, many horrible things, they say it was self-defense. But you actually have to come out and say self-defense. You have to take the stand to make that claim. And he didn't make that claim. And they're not claiming that he didn't do it either. So it's a really strange thing. Now, one method could be the defense lawyers, who don't seem to be the greatest guys, smartest guys going down there in Frisco, Carmelo Anthony's defense lawyers. But maybe they're gambling that, all right, the guy is guilty of sin, but if he doesn't testify, we might get this down to manslaughter rather than murder. I don't know. I don't know how it works. I know that Austin Metcalf's dad has been kind of amazing throughout all of this. I know that Carmelo Anthony, they treated him, and by they I mean vast portions of the community, specifically elements, certain elements, the usual suspects. Greedy lawyers, that kind of thing, so-called civil rights activists, the Al Sharpton crowd have treated Carmelo Anthony as if he's Carmelo Anthony, the basketball player, right? I mean, they try to give him this, superstar status, taking him away in SUVs and bodyguards and everything like that. The other thing, he's not in jail, hasn't been in jail since this thing started. They had him he was in jail for like 4 hours. They have him under house arrest with one of those little ankle monitors on. House arrest. Pending murder charges. That doesn't seem right. So we're going to know very soon here, very, very soon, what the hell really went down here. I mean, we have an idea. There are some people who know this case better than I do, and there are some people who are like just convinced certain things happen. I've not seen videotape of it. I haven't. It's not... To me, look, I'm not in the jury. I haven't been presented the evidence. I got little things here and there, and it's a little bit tough to find out. It looks like a horrible case of, at the least, manslaughter, maybe murder. I just don't know enough, and I haven't seen enough to say, and I know a lot of my friends have a great deal of conviction on this case. I sense that they're right, but I don't know if they're right. Now, if you don't mind, this is our friend Brandon Gill taking on the head of the Southern Poverty Law Center, who got busted. The 3-minute one, okay, Carlos, if you don't mind. Southern Poverty Law Center is this, sounds great, Southern Poverty. They fight poverty in the South. No, they stoke racial hatred. They actually fund Nazis. They fund white supremacists to the extent they can. All right. There aren't many of these guys around. And they give them the money so they can do their things. And then the Southern Poverty Law Center can complain about these things. It keeps them in business. Everybody's happy except the people. All right. Go ahead.
Fair. Do you recognize the tattoo on this man's chest? This is Secretary Hegseth.
No.
It's a tattoo of the Jerusalem cross. Your organization has referred to it as essentially a hate image. Do you agree with that assessment?
I'd have to see the assessment in our material to determine.
Referred to it as a hateful.
I'm not familiar with the symbol.
You're not familiar. Do you have any thoughts on that symbol, on that tattoo?
No, I don't.
No, none at all? You don't have any opinion on it?
No, I don't.
Okay. What about this tattoo? Do you have an opinion on this tattoo?
I'm
Graham
not
Plattner's.
an expert on tattoos. No, I don't.
Okay. I can give you a little bit of background. This is a tattoo on Maine Democrat Senate candidate Graham Plattner's chest. That's the Nazi SS death head tattoo. Do you have any opinions on that?
If it's what you say, if it's a Nazi symbol, we oppose Nazis.
We oppose, I agree, we do oppose Nazis. Do you think if somebody got a Nazi tattoo on their chest, that's indicative that they might be a Nazi?
You'd have to ask Mr. Plattner why he has that symbol. I've already said that if it is a symbol of Nazism, we oppose Nazis.
You don't think that that's indicative that perhaps he holds Nazi sentiments?
It may well be.
It may well be. I think, do people who aren't Nazis normally get Nazi tattoos on their chest?
Again, I assume they don't.
You assume they don't? I would assume so, too. I don't know anybody who's not a Nazi. I don't know anybody who has a Nazi tattoo on their chest but is not a Nazi. Do you?
No.
Do you think that somebody who has a Nazi tattoo on their chest should serve in the United States Senate?
I wouldn't vote for that person.
I certainly wouldn't either. Do you think that this should disqualify him politically from serving in the Senate?
Again, I'm not sure where the line of questions is going. The SPLC, if you're asking me, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
If you're asking me if the SPLC opposes Nazis and Nazi symbols, the answer is yes.
Yep. The SPLC has referred to this same tattoo as a racist skinhead symbol and tattoo. You can see the resemblance there. You wouldn't want somebody with a tattoo like that in the Senate?
No.
No, I wouldn't either.
Well done. Masterclass. Okay. Hey, then Mr. Fair, hey, good for him. And good for him. There are a lot of people who would not. Now, he learns his lesson a little bit because Fair just realizes, wait a second. I'm actually sounding like a common sense person. I can't do that. I can't be like that. So then they start pressing him on right to life. Are right to lifers white supremacists? Just that. That's the question. Are they white supremacists? And he starts to hem and haw and sound all weird and says, well, I that kind of thing. He literally, Mr. Fair, F-A-I-R, head of the Southern Poverty Law Center. Ken Paxton's former lawyer endorses Democrat opponent Tallarico. I think that's a couple of things here. Attorney-client privilege may have been compromised, number one. And number two, Tallarico. Tallarico. How about that? Tallarico. Mr. Six-Gender Tallarico. Tofu Tallarico. What are the they're going to spend a lot of money. Tallarico is going to lose. All right? I want to find out a little bit more about this lawyer. And by the way, it might just be a lawyer who worked at the firm, right? I don't trust the fake news on that one. Please don't. Yes, Rex. Hello. Interesting name. I love it. Rex, how are you?
Great. How about you, Greg?
Good.
Good. The reason I'm calling is I was thinking when you were talking sort of about reparations and things, made me wonder about General Flynn getting such a raw deal. I looked it up quickly on Siri, and it sounds like he got like a $1.2 million restitution in March of this year. But do you know, it seems like, of course, that's all buried. There's nothing that ever talks about General Flynn, but that guy had such a bum deal when the FBI set him up. What's your thoughts?
Yes, they did set him up. Dirty Cop Comey personally involved in that. He admitted it. It's terrible. Now, you say buried, but I got to tell you, the biggest voice in the world does talk about him with a fair amount of regularity. President Trump, he hasn't forgotten General Flynn. They did have that settlement. It probably was not nearly adequate financially. The Department of Justice is still a swamp creature. President Trump is the president, but I think he's very keen. He's very aware on how much money you can actually get in these cases. Like you saw what they did with the weaponization fund, right? They killed it. If that money, I think that General Flynn probably rated about $25 million. Right? If they're going to give $40 million to the dirty Central Park Five, he gets $25 million for the crap that he went through and his family. But, they have ways down there to turn it all off. It's kind of like Aaron Babbitt. Aaron Babbitt got about $5 million, the estate of Ashley Babbitt. I think he deserved $25 million. If it was much over $5 million, I think that the DOJ and the Congress and Republicans would have found a way to sabotage it. So, yep, he was screwed over. He deserves more. From what I understand, he's alive and well and, doing his thing, and he's giving speeches and he's writing and he's all over X. General Flynn, an American hero. That's how I feel about him. All right, Rex?
Very good.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, good guy. I've engaged him on Twitter, and he's engaged me on Twitter. But we've actually never... Oh, wait a second. I take that back. I interviewed him in December of 2020, and that interview made history. Actually, Liz Cheney talks about that interview, as if it was a dangerous interview. I mean, he's allowed to say things. People are allowed to hypothesize. People are allowed to hold opinions. And at that point, General Flynn wasn't even in government. They try to prosecute him on stuff he said as a private citizen. And people are allowed to talk. People are allowed to peaceably assemble. Not like last night at Bryant Park, everybody. This looks to me worse than anything I saw on January 6th. January 6th was beautiful, actually. Listen to this nonsense. Relax, they only lost by a few points. The street of New York City. Wow. Hitting cops, assaulting cops. Where the hell is he? Why is this not a problem? Why is that? It should be, I guess. Hey, look, a little hooliganism in sports kind of goes together, right? A little bit, but that was a little bit much. Hey, do me a favor, from President Trump last night, we just lost our Apaches, an Apache helicopter, but not terribly lethal. All right, this is going to be a classic tit for tat because we don't want to blow up this peace thing. And I think they were doing it. Pick up President Trump last night at JFK. Go.
We've got a lot of exciting things happening. Getting back to other things like jobs numbers. We have record jobs. We have more people working in the United States today than at any time in the history of our country. And you see the numbers on the stock exchange. We had just today 73 records. We have 73 new highs. So out of my short 1.5 years, we've had 73 brand new highs on the various stock exchanges, and that's a record. Nobody's ever had anything like that, and that's during a military conflict. So pretty amazing. And even the oil and gas, it's lower during a military conflict than it was during the Biden administration. And they didn't have that because to them it was okay that Iran has a nuclear weapon. And I say it's not okay. So the B-2 bombers did a big job and a great job. And We have got that in very good control. They will not have a nuclear weapon. Okay, could I ask Lee? He's done an incredible job, as you know. The environment is good, and he's approving more plans than any human being, I think, has ever approved anywhere in the world. We have more factories going up, car plants, AI plants. We have about $18 trillion being invested in the United States, which is a record by far. There's never been anything like it. Many, many times more than the last administration. I won't get into the numbers. The numbers are astronomical. But in the history of the world, there has never been a country that's had $18 trillion invested in it, and that's in 11 months. The last administration had much less than $1 trillion over a period of 4 years. We have $18 trillion in 11 months. We haven't gotten the final numbers on the 12th month, which will be very good. Lee, do you want to say something?
All right, we'll get back to Lee Zeldin, who is the acting chief of staff, I'm told, of the President of the United States in the White House. You know, let's face it, the woman has breast cancer, and that's terrible. But you can't do that job when you're being treated for something like that. Maybe unofficially or something like that, but hold the role. You know, they did that with Ronald Reagan. James Brady, who was shot in the head when Ronald Reagan was shot in March of 81, never left that job of press secretary. Larry Speakes was always the deputy press secretary, never became the actual, at least for a couple of years. Be right back.
You're listening to The Greg Kelly Show.
This hour of The Greg Kelly Show is sponsored by Abacus Global Management. Go to abacusgm.com.
Greg Kelly
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Hey, we're back.
It's hard to choose because you have a lot of choices. Would you like fewer choices?
I would like some to go to the storage unit.
Maybe we should just not have as many dresses, though. Because when you have so many things to choose from, it's very hard to choose.
Well, on the weekend when I'm not in public, when I'm going outside, I wear what my mom says, but later in the day when I am not in public, I kind of I want to wear something else.
So this is my little girl this weekend, and we had a little bit of a mishap in the house. Well, not a mishap. I mean, you know, she gets very, very particular about what she's going to wear, right? And my solution is, you know, look, she's an adorable girl. We got 2 sets of grandparents, got this, cousins, grandmothers, godmothers, everybody, you know, there's lots of gifts for this girl. And you can never give a kid too much. Well, but you can actually. You can never do enough for your kid, but you can give them too many dresses. So I was like putting it to her, maybe we should have fewer dresses because she's like freaking out about the choice. Isn't that interesting when I go out in public? Wait, a little bit more. A little bit more.
I have a hard time choosing it.
I'm choosing.
Okay. So here's the thing, though.
All right. So I'm trying with my fatherly kind of thing. And you know what's really kind of awesome and a little bit intimidating when she looks at me, when I say, look at me, because sometimes she'll look away or whatever, and she looks at you. And, you know, you really think, wow, I got a big responsibility here. A big one. And a beautiful one. I'm grateful.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
You know, it's pretty cool that I think the niece of Martin Luther King, Bernice King, is a conservative. And she's very outspoken, and she was there today testifying before the House, and some others were as well. The SPLC, Southern Poverty Law Center, a hate group that masquerades as a liberal do-gooder group, bunch of lawyers, but they fund radical right-wingers that they can find to the extent that there is. They're basically creating them, giving them money so that they can go complain about them and then raise more money based on their complaints. It really is something. So the guy who runs the joint is by the name of FAIR, F-A-I-R, and Brandon Gill All day long, I hear Brandon Gill's a white supremacist. He's a white supremacist. He's a white supremacist. No, he's not, actually. And not that it makes any much of a difference, but he happens to be married to a woman of Indian descent. All right? This is not a white supremacist. And this is really interesting. I did not know that on the left, a big kind of undercurrent, what they push as they embrace late-term abortions and everything abortion, they love abortion, they love death, is that anti-abortion, pro-life people, that's somehow linked to white supremacy. You oppose abortion, you are a white supremacist. Yeah. So it's really something watching Brandon Gill confront the head of the Southern Poverty Law Center over this absurd notion and listen to his answer. This is after he already backed him into a corner on Graham Plattner. So the guy doesn't want to give any ground, give an inch. Go ahead.
Shifting gears a little bit, your organization said that restricting and banning abortion is a tool of the far right uses to maintain white supremacy. Do you believe that pro-lifers are white supremacists?
I believe that reproductive liberty is...
No, do you believe that pro-lifers are white supremacists?
I will tell you what I believe if you're asking.
Yes or no?
I can't answer that question, yes or no.
I don't think that pro-lifers are white supremacists. Do you?
What I think is that reproductive liberty is a right that every woman should enjoy.
How many babies in the United States that are aborted are black? About 40% of abortions nationwide are of black babies. Blacks represent about 13% of the population. Does that sound like something a white supremacist would oppose?
What I would say again is that SPLC supports reproductive liberty.
Calling somebody a white supremacist is a pretty serious charge, isn't it? I would think you would be able to defend that if your organization says that. You clearly seem unable to.
Mr. Gill, I'm not sure why you would think I'm unable to do anything.
Because you're the president of the SPLC, which labels pro-lifers as racists.
Well,
does your organization just hurl around epithets like that without any justification?
Mr. Gill, what we do is
I'm giving you the opportunity to.
You're not giving me the
Mr. Chairman, what's he referring to? And can he let the witness answer the question? This is outrageous.
No, it's not.
Outrageous.
I know you don't like my question.
What are you referring to?
I know you don't like my question.
What are you referring to,
Time
Mr. Gill?
belongs to the gentleman from Texas. It's now expired, but he will be able to ask his last question, and we'll give the witness a chance to respond.
All right, I'll give my last question to Dr. King. Dr. King, are pro-lifers white supremacists?
Pro-lifers cannot be white supremacists. Pro-lifers believe in life from the womb to the tomb and beyond. Pro-lifers fight for every baby in the womb, regardless of skin color. We have been aborted as blacks in America disproportionately. And so the white supremacists are Planned Parenthood, who admitted that they do have racist underpinning with an agenda to reduce the black population by abortion.
That's right. Thank you, Dr. King.
Thank you.
Wow. Dr. King nailed it. You know, actually, back during Roe v. Wade, when they legalized it, guess who was most opposed to it? The Black Congressional Caucus. And guess who was most in favor of the war on drugs? The Black Congressional Caucus. There was a theory, right? And I'm not saying it's true or not true. I have no idea, but there was a theory that the drugs in the inner city were supplied by the Central Intelligence Agency to kill off black people. Now, actually, I know enough about that theory to know it's absurd. All right, that's not, even though I would almost put nothing beyond the CIA. Nothing at this point. But there's some bad scholarship out there that says the Nixon administration, was complicit and they knew all about this stuff. No, they didn't. And that's just, but Charlie Rangel and people like that, they were very, very like, oh my God, they're coming for us. They're coming for black people. And how about that figure? One thing Brandon Gill got a little bit off there. 40% of the abortions are of black babies. And then he said 13% of the population. You got to remember this, though. 13% of the population is black. They're not all black men, right? Black women are half that. And then, so you're talking about a very small percentage of Americans and 40% of the abortions. Now, there is possibly something, and Bernice King just alluded to it, that abortion, pro-abortion is the racist. Pro-abortion is something that's has racist origins. Isn't that wild? Isn't that wild to think about it? All right. Hey, on this day in history, Laverne and Shirley was canceled. It was the last show of Laverne and Shirley. I tell you what, that was a fun show. And back when everybody knew TV shows, we weren't burdened with, have you seen Breaking Bad or Mad Woman or Bad Man or Good Woman, The Good Bad Wife, all this crap that's up, right? 15. You got to wait till season 4. Then it really gets good. Shut up. I don't have time for this. But I do have time, and so do you, for a little bit of Laverne and Shirley. Wow. Wasn't that fantastic? Isn't that beautiful? Now, I used to think of these theme songs when I was a kid, and I was like scared of the dark or something like that. I would think about that theme. I think about the theme from The Odd Couple. Like, nothing could be that bad when that little jingle is out there, right? I mean, there are no monsters under Felix's bed. Lenny and Squiggy and the rest of them. Who sang the theme song to Laverne and Shirley? Well, I find out that little factoid. Yes, Brett in New Jersey. Hello.
Hey, Greg. How you doing? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Real quick story about my dad, the veteran. He was born in 1924. They didn't have welfare, so Grandma would put him and his brothers in an orphanage when it wasn't summertime because they had to work the farm when it was nice. So when he was 15, he joined the Merchant Marines, and then World War II breaks out, and over half the ships were sank. Gets all through that, never talked about any of it. First one in Passaic County, drafted for the Korean War, was my dad. But in all this, 82nd Airborne, all that, he lost a testicle, he lost his hearing from the guns, almost had his arms ripped off, and never complained about a thing. Oh, and his teeth were knocked out, free falling in the parachute.
Hey, wait a second. How did he get his testicle removed?
In a tree branch.
You mean when he parachuted down?
Yep. And he was never supposed to have kids. He had 5 kids.
Huh. Wow.
I didn't know this till after he passed, and he died at 64, poor guy.
What did he do once he got back? What did they do when he got back?
He started his own construction company. But there wasn't welfare. You know what I'm saying? You were put in an orphanage, and you had to work. You got to come out running. And the reason I did call, all the time when I worked with him, he was talking about Donald Trump this, Donald Trump that. You got to be like Donald Trump, because he was a young guy, Donald Trump, and I was a little bit younger than him. But he loved Mr. Trump.
Very interesting. Had a sense of the man. Wow, what an amazing story. Your dad, my goodness gracious, all that stuff. How did he get his teeth knocked out?
In the trees, they were dropping them like sand out of the planes. The paratroopers.
Yeah. No,
they lose air.
What do you mean by that?
There's so many chutes. The guy above you is taking your air.
Yeah, I heard even in peacetime when they throw like a couple of thousand guys out of planes during a major operation, a couple of guys die, or very serious injuries, compound fractures, you name it. And these guys are not exactly precision parachutists, right? That's not that. This is like, get them all out. Here's your parachute. Doesn't matter if it has a great big hole in it. Well, what was your dad's name?
Richard Dick Ashley.
All right. I love it. Dick Ashley. Great American. And hey, you know what? We're trying to turn all the vets into crybabies. Have you noticed that?
But like I'm saying, after my dad passed, his friends told me this stuff. He never talked about anything.
Yeah. Well, some guys talk, some guys don't talk. But it was, men were a little bit different back then. Now we're big blabbermouths, Blabbermouth! She's a blabbermouth, Alice. A blabbermouth. Hey, thank you very much, Brett. Very interesting. I love it. All right, we are moments away, we believe, from a verdict in the Austin Metcalf situation. And the guy who killed him admitted to cops, Carmelo Anthony, has become a folk hero for some. You really got to reevaluate your life if you're looking up to a creep like Carmelo Anthony. The basketball player is actually not a bad guy. This guy's a bad guy. Be right back.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Hey, we're back, and you heard about these Apache helicopters, American Apache helicopters, just shut down by Iran. Pilots are okay. President Trump informed the world and says we're going to retaliate soon. What does this mean? What's really going on here? General Blaine Holt, United States Air Force retired, the man who knows pretty much everything about this war. Welcome back, General. What do you make of this?
Oh, great to be with you. One thing that we should make of it is, wow, has the Navy upped their game in drones or whatever? Because you have the first rescue of downed airmen with a Navy floating seaborne drone. Nobody else involved. The crewman got to the drone and got out of there successfully. So that's noteworthy. And then the other part is the IRGC, as I've explained, is flailing in all directions because there is no way out for them but extinction. And so they're going to throw, even when Aragachi and the civilians in Iran are trying to make a deal with the president, these guys don't want a deal with the president. They're going to try to shoot their way out of this because that's all they have left. No money, some weapons. But now that they've done this, they just gave President Trump carte blanche to go, even in a ceasefire environment, service every one of the targets in those islands down there that we want to. And after they launch those missiles at Iran, we know where those launchers are. They've shown themselves. So we've got really good targeting intelligence for the response. And I imagine tonight we will start seeing a pretty heavy-handed response coming in.
Now, one little thing about his statement on Truth Social, it indicated to me that maybe he's going to take it easy on him. He said there were 2 pilots involved. Both are safe and injured. Nonetheless, the United States must, of necessity, respond to this attack. I just... look, I'm wrong about this, but I wondered if this was some sort of a face-saving gesture on Iran's part, last licks, and somehow we're okay with that. Weird things happen for various reasons. No possibility of that kind of scenario here?
No, that's a very strong possibility of that scenario. I can easily see that being a plausible path here. The place where I get to is that the IRGC is orphaned from all the other elements of power. You've got the Ayatollahs who think they're in charge, Pezeshkian and Gandabaf and Aragachi think they're in charge. I just think the IRGC is a very dangerous orphaned monster. And I think with the president won't go all out war against Iran out of this thing, that's for sure. But I think now we have a list of targets we would love to eliminate from the IRGC if it weren't for this ceasefire. Well, they just opened up the can of worms, and now I think we'll go scoop up a lot of these prioritized targets that we wanted to get.
So, very interesting. By the way, President Trump said the other day, being interviewed on that Kristen Welker show, he talked about the new Ayatollah, and he called him brave, and he called him rational. I mean, it was so interesting, and I think this is the highest level of strategy where he is essentially complimenting his opponent. And some people don't get that, and I think it's brilliant. You have to respect your enemy. And this goes back to the earliest traditions of warfare that have been forgotten by too many, I think.
I agree. And it also plays to working all the different factions of power in Iran. And the wonderful part about this is he may have been complimenting a dead man. He didn't say he's very much alive. He just complimented him, and that can put the other factions on watch as part of our strategy, which is obvious to me, is that we're turning them on each other, and that is absolutely brilliant.
All right. President Trump does say, hey, any minute now, a couple of days. Do you think it's a couple of days? And I'm fine if that's posturing or whatever, even wishful thinking. When do you see this thing wrapping up?
It could have already been wrapped up, and it may just be the couple of weeks that President Trump is intoning. But there's the invisible adversary that's got to be dealt with, too. And I think we are doing things behind the scenes, and that is the globalists, the City of London. You've got England and Europe that have been an impediment to the president every step of the way. Lloyd's of London. Now we see the Houthis getting activated, and they are saying they might harass shipping in the Gulf of Aden. And if they do that, can you see Lloyd's of London then moving to shut down that avenue of traffic as well? So Besant has that duty. He is taking on money laundering and financial scams and Lloyd's of London monopoly and manipulating this war. A reminder, they have never denied coverage in wartime in their 337-year history until now. And so that's the part that is required before this thing can end. But if we're going to take care of that, then I think that Iran could be solved this week, next week. Wouldn't take very long.
Very interesting. One other thing, you said the pilots were rescued by a drone. I never heard of that. I know helicopters do search and rescue. What kind of drone was this? Did it actually pick them up? Did they get onto a drone? So the pilots are in the water. What happened next?
Yeah. A robotic boat shows up, American flag on it. Pilots get in, and they're on their way. Very nice. Well done. This is great. And I know about technology companies that are working on airborne versions of this, stealthy airborne versions of this. But it's nice to see this in a place where you can put the minimal amount of people in harm's way and get them recovered safely under combat search and rescue. This is a great breakthrough.
That is awesome, and I did not know it. Well, Blaine Holt, thank you. We thank you so much for your expertise, wisdom, and knowledge. All right, pal?
Yep, thank you.
All right,
Always a pleasure.
To be continued. Wow, what a brain on that man. I love it. We have automatic boats that will retrieve our pilots. Hey, one little thing that I want everybody to understand. All right, the Bidens got busted lying again by me. Okay, by me. Couple of things you got to understand. No matter how much they had, it was never enough. Never enough. Here's Jill Biden in her brand new book, still bitching about her ex-husband and his college bar and her not getting enough money in the divorce. Cut 1.
When my first marriage ended in my mid-20s, I was thrown into a financial panic. I'd married at 18. I didn't have a career or even a college degree. My then husband owned a popular college bar that he held on to. I wound up with less than a quarter of what I imagined to be our shared money. I swore that I would never be in that vulnerable position again.
Wow. Still hurts after all these years. Next cut, 2.
How did you get this number? Those were the first words I spoke to Senator Joe Biden when he called me out of the blue on a lazy Saturday afternoon. It was March of 1975, and I had spent most of my morning running errands, so I wasn't expecting a call from anyone. Some people would have been excited to get a call from a senator. I was confused.
Yeah, confused, huh? Cut 4. Yes?
Hours later, at 7 p.m.
We'll blow it off. So she outs herself a couple of ways here. March of 1975, she later says that Joe Biden was 31 years old. He was 32. I mean, when they started having the affair, right, that makes it, she was still married to Bill Stevenson. Still bitter about that bar. I'm worried about Bill, but this is very helpful for our cause.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Get ready, Staten Island. It's time to celebrate 5 years of Ferry Hawks baseball.
The Ferry Hawks are back at SIUH Community Park this week against the Hagerstown Flying Boxcars. A 5-game series starting Wednesday with first pitch at 6:30. Thursday at 4 p.m., it's Jewish Heritage Night. Friday at 7 p.m., it's Soccer Night and kids glow around the bases postgame. Saturday at 6:30, it's Broadway Night with postgame fireworks and Broadway Rave. Sunday at 1:30, it's Military Appreciation Day and the kids run around the bases.
Visit ferryhawks.com now to lock in your seats.